Good day. So my question today is, what is spirituality, or what is walking the spiritual path? I think for some people that it conjures up in this mind these images of people doing yoga, people sitting around meditating in a monastery perhaps, or even a preacher in a pulpit preaching the good word of the Lord, or even the pot smoking hippie, right? This seems to be the predominant imagery for spirituality, and hopefully I'm here to I can help simplify these words. And for me, spirituality seems to be nothing more than the rediscovery of your own self-expression, and awakening, or becoming awake is the beginnings of becoming aware of the faulty programming that's hindering this self-expression, right? These social programs, religious programs, these things that we've been taught by external reality of how to be, who to be, how to think. What does it mean to be a human being? What does it mean to be a successful person? Right? All these things are taught to us by some kind of external authority. And for the most part, we're not taught of this internal pull or urge to be what we want to be, right? I think from my experience working in factories and packing boxes off of a conveyor belt, and in my mind asking the questions of, like, is this what my life is really amounting to? Spending my 8 hours just sitting here packing boxes with these plastic parts. And this is how I'm going to spend the rest of my 40 years or so until I'm allowed to retire. Right? Changing jobs, but it's still the similar premise of, it's not me. It has this feeling of being soul destroying, right? You feel your passion dwindle. And for me, it seems that spirituality is listening to that small voice inside of us, trying to urge us to do something else, or to say a thing, or to express ourselves in a certain way, foregoing all these imposed restrictions within our minds. Right? You can't do that. Like, how could you be successful doing that? Or, oh, no one's ever made it doing that. Or, oh, just, work the safe, comfortable jobs, because that's what we've done. Right? Our parents say these things to us. Our families say these things to us. And for some, that might be their path, right? Who am I to judge of what a spiritual path is? For some, and for many, who knows? But that might be their path, and good on them for finding it and finding joy within that way of being. But I think there's a majority of us that want to be something else and want to express something else, but don't know how, feel this lack, feel this inability to actualize these visions or these potentials that we see within ourselves. Right? If only I had the money, I would do this. If only I had the resources and the ability, I would do this. And these are all just self-limiting beliefs, right? To keep us in our place. Because the reality is, if you have enough energy and you have enough drive, ambition, passion to do a thing, you'll find ways and resources, or you'll find things will present themselves to allow you to actualize this. And this is why, like, from my point of view, there is no such thing as self-improvement. Self-improvement is really just letting go of these limiting beliefs to become who we really are. There's no improving you. There's no improving yourself. There's just letting go of these resistances, these restrictions, these boundaries to our own limitations of self-expression. And that's why spirituality, in my point of view, in my mind, is rediscovering of that self-expression. Rediscovering who we are when we are authentic, and actually being who we feel to be. And this is why these self-improvement courses are useful, right? They help you to inquire. They ask the right questions, or they help guide you to ask the right questions to yourself. What is it you really want? And help you plan accordingly to actualize that, to realize that. And the thing is that we become so habituated in who we are and our way of being that it becomes hard to change who we are, right? It becomes solidified, it becomes dense, our way of being, our personality, our expression of self that we've done so much, so often, through so many years, that it becomes ingrained within us. And the very act of transformation or changing who that is the rewiring of our nervous system to actually express our authenticity instead of going through all of these blockages. And that's why there's so many terminologies within spirituality, and they make sense, but they also seem grandiose, or we paint these fancy pictures around them, but the truth is it's that, right? Inside of yourself, you feel a certain way of being that you want to express, and all these limitations that you're confronted with. And this is, I think, most obvious in people that have had addictions, right? When you have an addiction, in the back of your mind, you're aware that you don't want to do this. You know it's hurting you. You know it's holding you back. It's limiting you. It's making your life miserable. But then now you're reliant on this addiction to mitigate that sense, that feeling of misery. But to get out of that, right, requires the stopping of that addiction, to cut it off, to let it go. And so the reality is, addiction to substances is just the physical manifestation of an addiction we all have to our own way of being, our own personality. We become addicted to our personality, and we don't want to give it up. We don't want to quit who we've been, even though in the back of our mind we're aware that it's not our optimal. It's not the realization of all the potential that we feel inside of us. And all we need to do is just take the action, see it for what it is, feel that urge of desire of changing, to that desire to be our optimal self that we can visualize for ourselves, and just do it. It sounds easier than what it is. I've been trying and struggling for many years to get to these, to do it. Not to get to anywhere, but just to do. It's not an easy path, but hopefully from different ways of expressing perceptions of what this means, of what the spiritual path is, and what self-improvement is, and how to actualize it, that it can help other people to understand that it is just a matter of making a simple choice, of re-identifying that you are not this personality, you are not this body, you are not stuck, you're not in any kind of prison. The only prison is the one that you choose for yourself. And freedom is just the change of that choice. And with that, I hope it helped you. And that's all I have. Until next time.